Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to break down the entire syllabus for English C1000E with Professor Jamie Dingman. The goal here is simple: cut through any confusion and give you a super clear roadmap for the semester, so you can focus on what really matters, building your skills as a writer, a reader, and a thinker. Okay, let's be real for a second. When you get a new syllabus, what's that one section you scroll to that kind of makes your stomach drop? Yeah, for pretty much everyone, it's the grading section, right? You're trying to figure out how every little point and percentage adds up, and that's usually where the stress kicks in. Well, that's exactly where this class is different. So here's our game plan. We're going to talk about that new grading approach, break down what a grading contract is, map out exactly how to get an A, go over the course rules, check out your support system, and then wrap up with your very first assignment. Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about the big idea here. The whole philosophy of this course is to get us to stop focusing on just chasing points and instead really zero in on the actual process of learning and, getting better. This little chart breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have traditional grading, which is all about performance. It can feel like this high-stakes numbers game where you're almost afraid to try something new. But this course uses contract grading, which is all about learning. It's a low-stakes process designed to give you the freedom to take creative risks with your writing because you know one single paper isn't going to make or break your grade. So what exactly is this system? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the concept that's really at the heart of this entire course. It's called labor-based contract grading. And honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like. Just think of it like a deal, a contract between you and Professor Dingman. If you complete a specific amount of work, which she calls labor, then you are guaranteed a specific grade. That's it. There are no mysteries, no hidden formulas, and zero surprises at the end of a semester. So you're probably wondering, okay, if I'm not getting an A or B on my essays, how do I know if I'm doing well? Great question. Instead of a letter grade, your work will just be marked as complete or incomplete. Then you'll get descriptive feedback, phrases like above expectations or developing the skill, so you know exactly what's working and where you have room to grow. Now, this is probably the most important definition in the whole syllabus. Understanding what complete means is everything. A complete assignment does not mean a perfect one. Seriously, it just means you put in real thought and effort. You hit the minimums like page length, and you actually engage with the ideas. It is all about the process, not about perfection. All right, here we go. This is the big one, right? How does all this complete and incomplete stuff actually turn into your final grade? Let's pull up the roadmap because it's incredibly straightforward. This table is basically your guide for the entire semester. It spells out the exact labor required for each grade. It all comes down to how many tutor conferences you complete, how many assignments are missing, and how many are late. It's all right there, black and white. So let's zoom in on what it takes to get an A. You need to submit all the major essays, complete 3 tutor conferences, and revise the first 2 essays. The other piece of the puzzle is just being consistent. You get a buffer of 10 missing and 10 late assignments for the whole semester. That gives you some breathing room, for sure, but it also means you gotta stay on top of things. This leads to a really practical question. If you open up Canvas and don't see a percentage grade slowly ticking up or down, who's actually keeping track of all this? The answer is, you do. And honestly, this might be the most empowering part of the whole system. You are always in the driver's seat. You always know exactly where you stand. All you have to do is track your own labor. Just keep a running count of your tutor conferences and any missing or late assignments. That's it. With that simple tally, you can look at that contract table anytime and know your exact grade. No guesswork at all. Okay, so you've got the contract. Now let's talk about some of the key policies that make it all work, starting with what happens when, life happens. The late work policy here is built to be flexible, but it has some structure. Obviously, the goal is to hit the original due date, but there's a preferred 48-hour grace period if you need it. Now, the absolute final, no-kidding deadline for any assignment is Thursday, December 11th. But, and this is a big one, don't make it a habit. If you turn in 5 or more assignments late in a row, that can be seen as taking advantage of the policy, and that work might not get accepted. The bottom line is, if you're falling behind, just communicate. Now let's talk attendance. This is a synchronous course, which just means you're required to show up for the live class meetings. You get 4 absences for the entire semester, which is about 2 weeks of class. If you do miss a day, it's on you to get caught up on whatever you missed, and if you have to go beyond those 4 absences, you'll need to chat with Professor Dingman about it. When it comes to academic integrity, the stance here is crystal clear.
This is a direct quote from the syllabus, and it says that using AI to generate your writing for you is a form of academic dishonesty. And it makes sense, right? This whole system rewards your effort and your process, not perfection. You succeed by doing the work yourself, even with its imperfections. There's just no need to cheat. So you know the rules, you know the contract, but you are definitely not in this alone. Let's take a look at the awesome support system you have and the kinds of quests or assignments you'll be taking on.
First things first, here is all the info you need to get in touch with Professor Dingman. You've got email, you've got the Remind app for quick questions, and you have both in-person and Zoom office hours for those longer conversations. Definitely use these resources. You've also got a fantastic support team. This class actually has an embedded tutor, someone who is specifically there to help students in this course. That's a huge advantage. And of course, you have the amazing Citrus College Writing Center. And let's not forget those tutor conferences we keep talking about. They're not just a good idea, they are a required part of your grading contract. So make sure you use these folks.
So what kind of work will you actually be doing? Well, it all builds on itself. You'll move from an analytical essay to an argumentative one, and then finally a research paper. And all along the way, you'll be doing smaller assignments like revision reflections, blogs, journals, and even a book club for Orange is the New Black. Everything is designed to build your skills step by step.
Now, I want you to look at this number for a second. 15. The syllabus gives a really important heads up that because this is a 5-unit course, you should plan on spending about 15 hours per week working on it. Now, that's not meant to freak you out. It's just to help you be realistic and manage your time well from the very beginning.
All right, let's bring this all home by talking about your very first assignment. It's designed to make sure you've really soaked in all these policies we've been talking about, and it's a great way to start the conversation with your professor from day one.
Completing this is super straightforward. Just review the syllabus, or hey, rewatch this explainer, and then write at least one full page in MLA format. The big thing to remember is to write your response in complete paragraphs, not just a numbered list of answers. And some of the key questions in that prompt should look really familiar by now. You'll be asked about the grading system, the late work policy, and how you plan to handle that 15-hour weekly time commitment. You already have all the info you need to give some really thoughtful answers. And I want to leave you with this really powerful quote from Toni Morrison that Professor Dingman puts right in the syllabus. A writer's life and work are not a gift to mankind. They are a necessity. It is such a perfect reminder that all the work you're doing in this class, all that labor we've been talking about, it's for something so much bigger than just a grade. You're developing a necessary skill, one that's going to be vital for the rest of your life. So the real question is, what are you going to build with it?